Omar is facing serious
Ilhan
backlash
Omar.
for bashing Charlie Kirk just a day after he was assassinated. Watch.
Yeah, there is nothing more up, than to completely pretend that his words and actions have not been recorded and in existence for the last decade or so. These people are full of shit, and it's important for us to call them out while we feel anger and sadness and have empathy.
There's nothing more blank up, Laura. There's nothing more than that. I mean, this is unbelievable. And there's more. But Omar is now pushing back on any criticism of what she said. Here's a quote. While I disagreed with Charlie Kirk vehemently about his rhetoric, my heart breaks for his wife and children. I don't wish violence on anyone. My faith teaches me the power of peace, empathy, and compassion. Really? Right-wing accounts trying to spin a false story when I condemned his murder multiple times is fitting for their agenda to villainize the left, to hide from the fact that Donald Trump gins up hate on a daily basis. Congress refusing to let her get away with it. Representative Nancy Mace, again, filing that resolution to censure Omar and strip her of all of her committee assignments. Congressman Buddy Carter supports the move, and here's what he told Fox News Digital. No one who justifies the assassination of someone with different political views than them deserves to sit on a committee. And Ilhan Omar openly used language that incites violence toward her political opponents. Committees are for serious lawmakers, not hate-spewing politicians. And now President Trump is backing the resolution as well. Watch.
Ilhan Omar, after his assassination, called Charlie Kirk a reprehensible human being. Should she be stripped of her committee assignments?
I would say, I think she's a disgraceful person. I think she's a disgraceful person, a loser.
But all right, now let's go ahead and get into this Piers Morgan interview that got pretty damn heated. I'll tell you that right now. And it was a pretty fun watch. Well, at least to me. Okay. All right, guys, let's get into it.
I've been told all week I'm focusing on the white youth that perhaps he would still be with us today.
Charlie was a friend, a mentor of mine. He sit here today and listen to the discussions. I mean, I am just like in total disbelief.
I've been told all week he would have hated someone like you. No, he would have respected me because I'm my own person and I know how to have my own thoughts.
Oh, I can't even go to the grocery store alone anymore. I can't even walk my dog without a gun.
President Trump is in the UK for an historic second state visit, the world's most famous royal family. This host 989 Riley Gaines, the host of Gaines for Girls on Outkick.com, Jillian Michaels, host of Keeping It Real, Brian Shapiro, host of Pushing the Limits, and Lucas Bain, better known as the amazing Lucas. Okay, well, welcome to all of you. Brian Shapiro, I was sickened by what happened to Charlie Kirk. I think we can probably all agree. I hope we can all agree it was sickening, although I had Destiny on the other night who couldn't bring himself to condemn it because Donald Trump hadn't said the right thing for him, which I think is a lamentable piece of moral cowardice. So let me just start by asking you, I presume you condemn and were horrified by what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Absolutely. I was on the air, Pierce, when it all happened. I got emotional. The first thing I thought about were his kids and his family. This is not only bad for Charlie Kirk, obviously, and bad for his family. It's bad for America. And I also feel for everybody that was traumatized, that was there that day, that had to see that. Now, with that being said, of course.
All right, hold on there. Almost forgot my man Hellbat. All right, first off, we got to finish off Hellbat's video because he sent it in. So, you got to honor the send-ins. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and get into this. The name of the video is, Fire Pan Bondi. Here's the fast facts. And shout out to Legal Mindset. Hey, I seen this guy on Fresh and Fit. I like this guy. I haven't seen his video in like 2 years. Andrew Esquire.
Pam Bondi needs to be fired in order for America to get what it needs done, including the designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization, the prosecution of that, and making sure our rights, specifically our free speech rights, are not taken away as we go into this endeavor of getting rid of violent extremists. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney. This is a legal mindset. We let you be your own judge. And I'm going to, kind of take an even-keeled stance here. I've got something for Pam Bondi, who is obviously part of the administration. She's obviously a Republican. But I've also got a lot for Antifa and all those that think Antifa can't be designated a terrorist organization. I got news for you. They can. And
I mean, shoot, we designated the cartel and, smaller Latin American gangs. I'm pretty sure we could find a way to make Antifa a terrorist organization. Trust me.
Is a good way to do that. So we're going to get into that today.
Oh, man, and God forbid we could link Antifa to Soros money. Oh, yeah, then it's really a wrap for them.
On the legal mindset. So let's get into it. And I want to actually start with a video. And this is Pam Bondi talking about speech and hate speech. And I want to, it's on the Kate Miller podcast. And this is so important because remember, this is our AG. This is our attorney general. This is the person who is going to be behind not only taking these violent groups down and prosecuting them, but also behind drafting the laws that get passed and doing all sorts of other things. And understand, her incompetence, her stupidity will be reflected in law, which is a massive, massive, massive risk. So let's take a watch at what she says here and how this is utterly incoherent.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
So this is the most incoherent thing ever, and it's something that harkens to the UK in hate speech, right? Hate speech as it's designated in the United States, and I'll pull up the.
Here's the thing, though. I do understand she was possibly being emotional and all that good stuff, but yeah, it's not a good thing for Attorney General to say that. To be quite honest, like even I'm over here disagreeing with her. Like, yeah, I understand you're emotional, but chill out. Like, no. Trust me, sadly, it's protected. It's protected, Pam Bondi, but guess what they're not protected from? Consequences. They're protected from persecution and going to jail over it, but the consequences, let them get fired. The best thing Pam Bondi could do is be like, yeah, we're just gonna, help the FBI find these guys and get them fired, which I wouldn't agree with, but probably the best thing she can do. Or just sit back and just let the Twitter goons do what they're doing. Finding these guys who make this crazy content, send it to their job and get them fired. All right. Shout out to our man Tove. He was pretty much talking about like 40K people that lost their job over this rhetoric.
Slide here where my good friend Nate, the lawyer,
I need to walk over the First Amendment now.
Where we have speech, we have free speech, right? And by and large, across the board, hate speech is free speech. You are allowed to have hateful ideas and opinions. That is free speech. That is actually allowed, right? There's very, very limited exceptions. And if we want to talk about what's permissible and non-permissible, the real mistake Pam Bondi makes here is she doesn't know the difference between what is allowed and what's not. And what she is confusing is hate speech and hate crimes. She doesn't even know the difference. That's something you should know the difference about. If you're the attorney general, the top person in the United States, but we all know, and it's very clear, she is a pure political appointee. In fact, it may just be Trump likes blondes and wanted a blonde in the office, right? Who knows, right? But she is not the right person if she cannot make this basic legal distinction that even people in law school, a 1L in law school knows this, 1L being a first-year law student, by the way. A 1L knows that these are this is permissible speech. Things like ideas, opinions, debate, dissent, and even hate speech, even hateful things. If you say something like "I hate this person," that's okay. You're allowed to say that. What you're not allowed to do is a hate crime. A hate crime is an idea coupled with an act, right? There's a criminal act. So you're going out and doing something criminal, and you're doing it with a hateful idea, behind that, right? So those are coupled together. But just speech alone is not enough. And once again, Bondi doesn't understand this concept. What she should be focusing on, and which any incompetent AG out there, any competent, any knowledgeable AG would focus on what's important here, the 4 areas of impermissible speech. And if you hear me talking about this, I am always talking about one of these 4 areas. These 4 areas are the areas that right now we need to go after. Law enforcement, the president, everybody, businesses, we all need to target these 4 areas. This is what we need to focus fire on, because in the legal realm, we are in the clear in nuking these areas. And if we clear these out, America becomes so much better. We don't have to go into taking our rights away. We don't have to expand the law. Just focus on what the law already makes illegal. Let's look at that. Incitement, so speech that directly incites imminent lawless action or criminal activity. This is a lot of the speech online. We talk about Hassan's speech, other speech online that's hateful, directed towards violence. That's incitement, right? You're saying, hey, go out there and delete these people, go out there and hurt these people. That's incitement, right? Then you've got harassment, creating a hostile environment. Well, if people are creating a hostile environment where, people perhaps of a certain gender or race, perhaps white men, don't feel comfortable, that can be harassment, right? So we can go focus on that. We can also focus on defamation. Defamation is not legal, and we can even add and strengthen the penalties on defamation. That's perfectly fine as well. We can do that. And also we can tackle true threats. And true threats is an actual threat of violence, saying, I'm going to go hurt this person, right? So all of these are okay. And trust and believe that if we actually take action on a lot of this stuff, which we've been sleeping on, especially with the radical left has gotten a pass on this for a long time. I know a lot of people say, oh, it's both sides. And fair enough. If somebody on the right does this, they should be prosecuted as well. Don't get me wrong, but the radical left has gotten a pass on a lot of these categories, on defamation, harassment, incitement, and true threats. And if you just crack down on these, that is more than enough. That is plenty sufficient to sweep up a lot of people. And in fact, if you do what Bondi says, you're actually doing a hard left move, because you're actually, by adopting hate speech laws, going to the far left, going to a sort of the UK Orwellian, this is the approved speech, this is the not approved speech. We don't want to go there. That's not a place America wants to go. So, and by the way, going down the road that Bondi wants us to go down, that can end up getting overturned in the Supreme Court. And the last thing we want to do is get this stuff reversed, right? That's the last thing that we would want to do, because it would really end up setting the whole movement back. The other thing is, there's something coming up called the Smith-Mundt Act. And this is something that's got a lot of traction, right? So this is the Media Accountability Act. And it's not formally drafted yet. People are just talking about drafting it. They're talking about naming it the Charlie Kirk Act, although I believe Charlie Kirk might be appalled by the way it's actually executed. And this would impose fines of up to 35% of the company value on media. And many people say it's a precursor to a social credit score system, right? Or essentially a company credit score, a company score. And what they're going to target is things like bigot, racist, fascist, and perhaps stuff like Nazi and white supremacist. Now, I don't have as much of a problem with something like Nazi or white supremacist, so long as you create an objective definition saying, okay, well, it is per se defamation to call somebody a Nazi unless they are either a formal member of the National Socialist Party of Germany between the era of 1920s roundabout to 1945, right? So if they're a formal member, you can call them a Nazi. Or if they self-declare as a Nazi, that's okay. That's fine. But otherwise, if you call somebody a Nazi, that is per se defamation and they have damages. Okay, that might be reasonable, right? Because that would hurt someone's reputation. You can't just going around calling people a Nazi. It's way overused on the internet. It's way overused everywhere in media, and it needs to stop. Same thing with white supremacists. If you are openly a white supremacist, you declare yourself as one, or you're a member of a group which publicly, as its platform, espouses white supremacy, then sure. Then you can call somebody that. But otherwise, defamation, right? Now, something like bigot, racist, fascist, those are a little bit harder, right? So maybe you could say, okay, if you're part of something that openly espouses those views, maybe. But otherwise, it's very difficult to say.
I mean, they could just say you're part of the conservative party. They could just say you're a Republican. There you go.
But there's a big distinction. If anybody's looking at skin color, they're a lefty.
Good point.
Say that, right? So how they do that, how they define that, it's going to be a little bit more tricky, right? Something with an objective criteria like white supremacy or Nazi, that might be a little more clear than bigot, right? Because bigot, what people can view as quote unquote bigoted or racist, varies widely. So what one person calls racist is another person saying, okay, that's just somebody making a joke, or that's harmless, etc. That's humor, right? So that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So I'm my kind of problem here is I don't want Pam Bondi drafting this. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. She's going to screw this up entirely. This requires so much legal nuance that I have zero faith that this woman can do this, or the team even under her, because she's going to be directing it down a bad path, and they're just going to follow her like blind gnomes to, or lemmings right over the cliff, right? And I know there's some debate whether lemmings actually go over cliffs, but it's a metaphor, okay? So I now want to shift gears with this, and actually it still goes with Pam Bondi, because once again, Pam is going to need to execute this, and I have zero faith. But there's this declaration of Antifa as a terrorist group. So the other day, I actually prepared this whole slide deck and everything before, but I ended up redoing it. Trump said he would 100% label Antifa a terrorist group, and it turns out he went and made a tweet. Now everybody is going out here and saying this is an official declaration. It's an official declaration. It isn't, guys. This is not an executive order. There has not been an executive order that I've seen yet. I need to see the language. So this is just him tweeting. Now, let's talk about how you would do it right. Once again, I don't think Pam Bondi understands this. I think Pam Bondi has no idea how to do this. So let me explain it. And maybe somebody can pass this to her team, or, the person that succeeds her, if she's hopefully fired, and get this done the right way. First of all, Trump can unilaterally direct law enforcement to prosecute. So Trump can unilaterally say, okay, FBI, go after Antifa. That's fine. They can do, that's just a directive. That's giving them, the executive is saying, hey, it is your priority to prosecute Antifa. They do that tomorrow. They can bring RICO charges against Antifa. That's completely possible. So that the president can do unilaterally. Now,
all right, guys, we went a bit over time. Well, damn, 25 minutes over time for me. But all right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out on this one, guys. Make sure you guys double tap that screen and like the video. And let's remember, if you're not already subscribed to here, just go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell so you get the notification for next time I go live. All right, guys, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. This is Set with Set Media, and shout out to Monty and Maine for coming up. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.
Later, everybody.
Shout out, guys. Today, modern AI is quite advanced, except two problems. It is censored and it takes your information. Well, it's hard to find a tech company that don't, but let me introduce you to one. Shout out to my sponsor, Venice AI, which allows you to protect your information and avoid censorship. Now ask yourself, why should a team of programmers at these leading AI apps be the ones to decide what is okay for you to ask and think? Also, would you be comfortable if the presidential administration could govern what AI tells you? Man, I know I wouldn't. But also, while you think about that, did you know that? Let me tell you this, it's gonna be crazy, but ChatGPT has a former director of the NSA sitting on their board right now, guys. And shout out to that man, Edward Snowden. He called this a willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. And we all know how Alexa is. Alexa listens to us and recommends products based on our conversations. I mean, talk about